about a medical video?
Hello, this is Dr. Chris Marshall here at Medical Specialty Clinic. Thanks for tuning in to this video. Today I just wanted to talk a minute about keto breakfast. People who know me know that I've been on a keto diet for a couple of years. I do like the keto diet if it's done properly. There are many other diets. I don't discount them. You have to pick the diet that works for you. But I do think everyone should be on some type of diet, at least monitoring what they eat. Other diets that are also excellent, the Mediterranean diet, the Weight Watchers is a good diet, Heart Healthy diet, and then the American Diabetes Association has several recommendations for a diabetic diet on their website. So I highly recommend those as well. Keto works for me. So anyway, keto breakfast. Typically, breakfast is a very good meal, especially for keto. The best just general keto breakfast would be a couple of eggs, 2 or 3 pieces of bacon, and some guacamole. You could have sausage instead of bacon. Obviously, there's several other options you could have, but with breakfast and keto, you have to stay away from typically waffles, pancakes, biscuits, gravy, things like that in general. And immediately people will tell me, that's all the good stuff. I know that everybody loves biscuits and gravy and pancakes and waffles. That is why we eat too much of them, is because they taste so good. So I understand that they're very good, and I'm not saying you can't ever have them. It's just it will keep you out of ketosis. So all keto means is that you're burning fat instead of carbohydrates for energy in your body. When we use fat that we have stored up or fat that we take in our diet, when we use fat as fuel, we generate ketones, and that's where the name keto comes from. That's a normal process. It happens generally every day when we go to sleep, and we sleep for eight hours and we haven't eaten for 9 or 10 hours straight. Then we use some fat for fuel. One of the problems that we don't realize is that when we wake up in the morning, we're just starting to burn through all of our sugar that we've got stored up in our liver, and then starting to burn a little fat. And then we eat and we stop burning fat and we start burning the food that we just ate. Intermittent fasting is also an excellent diet for that reason. Fasting is very safe in general. However, a little disclaimer, if you take medications, you have certain chronic medical problems such as kidney disease, high blood pressure, things like that, always talk to your doctor before you start any diet, especially fasting. In general, when I speak about these diets, I'm talking about using them in otherwise healthy person that needs to lose some weight. Always a good idea to discuss this with your healthcare provider, especially if you have other chronic diseases or you take medications, because then it can completely change what type of diet would be safe or unsafe for you. This is not medical advice. This is just a general discussion about diets, perhaps my opinion on some of the things, but not direct medical advice to the viewers of this video. So please keep that in mind. So back to the diet. Like I said, for breakfast, real simple: eggs, bacon, guacamole. That's a good option. If you really need to have some pancakes or waffles, then there are some ways to do that, believe it or not. Usually we'll typically use almond flour instead of wheat flour or cornmeal or anything like that. So I'm not advocating for any one product, but I do like this, and I use it at home occasionally when we'll have pancakes and waffles. So this is Birch Benders. You can see the label. So there are 5 grams of net carbs per serving. That's 2 pancakes. So you can have 2 pancakes for 5 carbs, and that is not too bad. Usually when you're starting keto, you want to keep your total carbohydrates under 20 grams in a day. Sometimes 10 for some people, but usually under 20. And then when you move into maintenance, you can get up to 50 grams of carbs, and you'll kind of shift back and forth to keto fairly easily. But that's usually after 6 months of a fairly rigorous keto routine. Here's the nutrition information. I hope you can see that. If not, I'll try and post a photo in the video. Anyway, this is a good product. And then with that, you always got to have syrup, sugar-free syrup. They make it. It sits right next to the regular pancake syrup, maple syrup, things like that. You want to count your carbs added to that too. Anything you add to it, you got to keep up with the total carbs. And then butter, as you know, on keto is fine. So butter, not a bad thing on keto, because you're burning the fat that you're eating, and so you're not storing it. It's not staying around to get deposited in the lining of the arteries and things like that. There's a couple of other products that I wanted to talk about as well, and these are fairly simple things. You can see these at, I think Walmart carries them, Amazon, things like that. Always check your local grocery store. Try to shop local if you can, support the community, but sometimes these things are hard to find locally. So this is a cup of keto double chocolate cake mix, basically. So this is sweetened with actually some natural sugars that just aren't absorbed very well. So allulose is a sugar that occurs naturally. It's not an artificial sweetener, but it's not absorbed very well. We only absorb about 5 or 10% of it, so it tastes sweet. They can add that. Now I believe there is probably some other artificial sweeteners added as well, but they do use some allulose, and that helps. Improves the texture when you're baking and things like that. So while this is not going to be your standard brownie recipe, it can satisfy the urge for something sweet that you may not have had in a while. So anyway, this is pretty good. 5 grams of net carbs for the whole container. So similar to a couple of pancakes with the Birch Benders product. That's not a bad option. Another brownie, this is actually a Birch Bender product. That was a Duncan Hines. Again, not advocating any one brand, but this has 3 grams of carbs per serving. So I'll let you look through the nutrition information on it. You can Google and find out what's in it. They have several different offerings, not just brownies. They have just a cup of pancakes, the chocolate chip pancakes, things like that. I think they have a few other products that they offer as well. So some low carb options other than bacon, eggs, and guacamole to satisfy that craving for pancakes or waffles, other things. And these can be made fairly quickly, so if you're on the go, especially these cups, you can just add water to them, microwave them, and you're good to go. You can eat that right out of the cup. No need to dirty up any dishes. If there's some other type of video you want to hear about, doesn't have to be related to keto, any other kind of healthcare questions you had, hit me up in the comments and I'll try and get a video that is of interest to you. And as always, thank you for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.